So why are you holding the camera?
Your question is really a bad question.
You test my patience.
They don't care about the club.
Footballers are professionals. They train every day, sacrifice their personal lives, and carry the weight of millions of fans on their shoulders. The least reporters can do is show up prepared.
Please, my friend. If you don't know your information, don't talk.
But some don't. And when disrespect enters that press conference room, certain players and managers have zero tolerance for it. We're talking walkouts, mic drops, public humiliations, and moments so uncomfortable they went viral for years.
Germany is not a golden generation? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
From Cristiano Ronaldo literally throwing a microphone into a lake, to José Mourinho's most iconic non-answer of all time,
Not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble.
to Zlatan treating journalists like they should feel privileged just to be in the same room.
You seem to know better than me.
These are footballers shutting down disrespectful interviewers. Let's get into it. Cristiano Ronaldo, the lake moment. Let's open with the most visually insane moment in press conference history. June 22nd, 2016. Euro 2016. Portugal is in France and the pressure is suffocating. Ronaldo has attempted 23 shots across Portugal's opening 2 group games and scored 0 goals. 0. He missed a crucial penalty against Austria. He refused to shake Iceland's hands after a ass draw. The entire football world was questioning whether the planet's most famous player was crumbling on the biggest stage. That morning, the squad was out for a walk in Lyon when journalist Diogo Torres from Portuguese tabloid TV station CMTV approached Ronaldo. Ronaldo was asked by the journalist whether he was ready for the next match against Hungary. It seemed like the softest possible question. And then, without warning, without a word, without even breaking stride, Ronaldo was pressed by the reporter, and he reacted by snatching the reporter's microphone from his hand and throwing it into a lake. Gone. Into the water. Done. Portugal officials briefly spoke to the journalist, but he was left without a microphone and a comment. The video quickly went viral and made huge headlines around the world, with many wondering what had been said to make Ronaldo react in such a manner. Rumor has it that Ronaldo had an existing feud with that specific TV channel, and this was simply the final straw. The journalist in question, Diogo Torres, believes the strained relationship between Ronaldo and CMTV is the reason why he reacted in the manner he did. And here's the punchline to end all punchlines. Portugal went on to win Euro 2016. Ronaldo, the furious, 0-goal mic-throwing superstar in early June, he lifted the trophy in July. Try telling that reporter his question was fair now. Talk about consequences. Cristiano Ronaldo, the Coca-Cola moment. But that was not the only time Ronaldo's press conference behavior sent shockwaves far beyond the football world. Fast forward to the 2021 European Championships, another tournament, another press conference, another Ronaldo moment for the history books. Sitting down at the official UEFA media table, Ronaldo looked at the 2 Coca-Cola bottles placed in front of him for the cameras, picked them up, removed them from view, replaced them with a bottle of water, and held it up with a pointed look at the camera. No words, just a gesture. 30 seconds. Done. The financial damage, absolutely staggering. That one small move made Coca-Cola's shares fall by 6%, which sounds modest until you realize that translated to Coca-Cola's market value dropping by $4 billion overnight. $4 billion. One man, one gesture, 4 billion gone. And it did not stop there. Ronaldo's move triggered a chain reaction across the tournament. Paul Pogba removed a bottle of Heineken from his press conference table because of his religious beliefs. Scotland's John McKinn asked for a Coca-Cola instead, playing the moment for laughs. And one Russian coach took the complete opposite approach, grabbing bottles and pulling them toward him on camera. One small act of personal preference from Cristiano Ronaldo turned into a global media firestorm that burned a hole in one of the world's most powerful corporate brands. That is the kind of power that exists in this man's hands. Literally. Convenient timing for water brands, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, the Piers Morgan interview. Here's where things get truly messy. In November 2022, Ronaldo sat down with Piers Morgan for a 2-part interview that detonated like a grenade inside Old Trafford. He was not there to be diplomatic. He called out Manchester United owners the Glazers, saying,
They don't care about the club.
He took aim at his manager Erik ten Hag, saying he felt deliberately provoked and had no respect for him. He went after former teammate Wayne Rooney, suggesting he was perhaps jealous because, as Ronaldo put it, he finished his career early and I'm still playing at a high level. And he took shots at former teammate Gary Neville too, saying, "They are not my friends, they are colleagues. We don't have dinner together." The fallout was immediate and total. Manchester United released this statement within days. Cristiano Ronaldo is to leave Manchester United by mutual agreement with immediate effect. Contract terminated. Career at United over. He never played for them again, signing for Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia shortly after. Ronaldo weaponized a press interview and ended his own contract with one of the world's biggest football clubs. Some players dodge questions. Ronaldo nuked the building. What a way to go out. José Mourinho, "If I speak, I am in big trouble." Now enter the king of the press conference chess game, José Mourinho, the special one, the man who turned media appearances into performance art. March 15, 2014, Chelsea versus Aston Villa in the Premier League. Aston Villa won a Premier League match against Chelsea with a score of as, but the result was almost secondary to what happened during the match. Chelsea players Willian and Ramirez were shown red cards, and the manager himself was sent to the stands following the second sending off. After the game, reporters were practically salivating. They wanted to know what Mourinho thought about referee Chris Foy's performance, so they asked, and what did the special one say?
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble.
He said it with the calm of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't scared, he was performing. José Mourinho was very angry with Chris Foy, who was officiating the game, but chose not to say what he really felt about the state of the refereeing decisions. He steered clear of launching full-scale criticism on the match official because he knew that their status in the sport is well protected. The clip went viral across social media after it was reposted to YouTube in 2020, inspiring others to use the catchphrase in posts and memes. It became one of the most shared football clips on TikTok for years afterward. Press conferences do not get more iconic than that, but Mourinho did not stop there. There was another night, after a heavy defeat at Old Trafford as Manchester United manager, when reporters pushed him on the result. Mourinho turned to the camera with ice in his eyes and delivered one of sport's greatest mic drops, reminding everyone, 3 Premier League titles for me, and 2 for all the other 19 managers combined. Respect, respect, respect.
3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together.
Walked off, done, no questions answered, no ground given. That is José Mourinho in his purest form. José Mourinho, your question is a bad question. But the Mourinho moments keep coming, and this one is particularly satisfying. A reporter asked Mourinho a question he felt was poorly framed, disrespectful, and frankly uninformed. And instead of deflecting with professionalism, Mourinho simply looked at the journalist and said,
I want to be polite with you, and I prefer not to answer to the question because your question is really a bad question.
And your question is not correct. Pause. Let that sit. He did not just refuse to answer. He gave a detailed, composed, almost surgical explanation of why the question did not deserve an answer, and then he sat there waiting for the next one. The journalist sat in silence. The room sat in silence. Mourinho sat perfectly still, with the expression of a man who has won every argument he has ever had in his life. After Manchester United played Barcelona in 2011, a journalist asked,
So Alex, if the owners of Man United gave you a blank cheque over the summer and allowed you to bring in any one, just one of Barcelona's team from tonight, who would you sign?
Ferguson replied, "That's one of the most stupid questions I've ever heard in my life." After the laughter died down, he continued,
Oh, Mascherano, you test my patience.
Not Mourinho on that one, but the spirit, pure Special One energy. They truly were cut from the same cloth. And if you think that was bad, Mourinho once looked at a journalist and asked who had the idea to hold the press conference outside in a specific location, saying, "That would be a really interesting question." Wow. The reporter was left completely speechless. Mourinho made them feel stupid for existing in the same space. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the information killer. Speaking of making reporters feel like they should not exist, nobody weaponizes a press room quite like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 6'2" of pure Nordic arrogance, armed with a god complex and absolutely zero patience for laziness. A journalist once asked Zlatan about something they had clearly written about without speaking to him first. Zlatan turned to them calmly and said,
You seem to know better than me,
The journalist began to backtrack. Zlatan cut right through.
but you're writing about it, not me. So how do you know?
The journalist fumbled. Zlatan just waited. It was a masterclass in turning the camera around on the interviewer. Then there was the legendary Zlatan information correction. After his second season with the club, a reporter misstated the facts about his form and stats. Zlatan's response was 3 words and a pause.
Please, my friend. If you don't know your information, don't talk.
Done. Press conference continues. The reporter sat down and presumably never made that mistake again. And nobody can forget the Sweden World Cup qualifier press conference. A journalist asked Zlatan how he thought the tie against Portugal would go. Zlatan responded, Only God knows. The journalist, trying to be clever, said, It's hard to ask him. Zlatan looked at him directly and said, You're talking to him now. And when Sweden were eliminated and would miss the 2014 World Cup, Zlatan gave the world his final verdict on the tournament, saying, A World Cup without me is nothing to watch, so it's not worth waiting for the World Cup. God complex fully intact. Reporters bruised, Zlatan satisfied. That is just a Tuesday for him. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The journalist interrogation. But perhaps Zlatan's greatest press conference performance was not a one-liner at all. It was a slow, deliberate psychological dismantling of a journalist who thought he was asking a legitimate question. The reporter had been writing about Zlatan's relationships and private dynamics, and came to a press conference seemingly believing he was well informed. He began his question with something along the lines of noting that a lot of people spoke about Zlatan's relationships with certain individuals. Zlatan immediately interrupted.
A lot of people or you?
The journalist said no. Zlatan said,
But you seem to know better than me.
The journalist replied he was not claiming to know better. Zlatan shot back, But you're writing about it, not me, so how do you know? At every single attempt the journalist made to clarify or continue, Zlatan had a perfect counter. He then hit the journalist with a final line that sent everyone in the room into absolute silence. He looked at the camera guy accompanying the journalist and asked, dead serious,
Are you a journalist or a camera guy?
The journalist said he was a journalist. Zlatan replied,
So why are you holding the camera? You should have a camera guy.
Because your boss wants to meet me, so he sends a low-budget operation? The journalist had no response. Nobody had a response. Zlatan had effectively ended the man's career self-worth in approximately 90 seconds. Short, sharp, humiliating, a Zlatan special. Mario Balotelli, the sun shut down. Now, if Zlatan is a precision instrument, Mario Balotelli is a hand grenade with the pin already pulled. And in February 2013, Super Mario delivered one of the most unambiguously satisfying reporter shutdowns in the history of football press conferences. Context matters here. Balotelli had just completed his move from Manchester City to AC Milan for a fee of around €22 million. This was his official unveiling press conference at San Siro. The Italian media were there, the international press were there, and naturally, the English media made the trip too. Early in the conference, when asked what he would not miss about England, Balotelli did not hold back. He listed without hesitation.
The press, first, the weather, the food, the way I like you drive. No, that's it.
But the best moment came minutes later. A journalist from The Sun, one of the leading sources of Balotelli stories during his England years, tried to ask a question. When he identified himself, Balotelli cut him off immediately. Balotelli looked at him and said,
Listen, your newspaper, from when I get to England, he always talk bad about me, so I don't want to speak with your newspaper, sorry.
There was then a smattering of applause in the room. He said sorry. He said it with a smile, the most graceful dismissal imaginable. He did not lose his temper. He did not shout. He just told the truth, applied consequences, and moved on. The Sun journalist sat there with nothing, while the rest of the room genuinely clapped. Another blockbuster shutdown, yeah? Eric Cantona, the Seagulls. Here's where we go from sharp to poetic, because no footballer in the history of the sport has ever shut down a press conference quite like Eric Cantona did on March 31st, 1995. Cantona's quip came at a press conference after an appeal hearing at Croydon Magistrates Court, following his infamous kung fu kick on Matthew Simmons during a Manchester United match against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. The world's media was packed into a small room. Every camera, every recorder, every pen was pointed at the Frenchman, waiting for him to beg for forgiveness, to explain himself, to grovel. Instead, Cantona looked at the room, paused, took a sip of water and said,
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea.
Then he stood up and left. Even as he spoke, there was palpable confusion. In the exaggerated mid-sentence pause, one hack can even be heard blurting out a confused "seagulls." The entire press corps spent the next several years trying to decode those words. What did he mean? Was it philosophical? Was it a metaphor for the media? Cantona let them wonder for almost 30 years before finally revealing the truth. He explained, "After the judgment, they absolutely wanted me to speak to the press. I didn't want to, but they said it's important. You have to speak to the press. So I said, okay, I will speak to the press, in the sense that they want me to speak. I'll say any old thing. They wanted me to speak, I spoke. It just came out and then I left." He made it up on the spot. He said something that meant nothing and let the press make it mean everything, and in doing so, he won. Cantona later said, "You know, they destroyed me, but in a way I have had my revenge. They were all trying to find a meaning, and they all asked me to explain, and I said nothing." Nearly 3 decades of confusion as revenge. Absolute genius. Kevin De Bruyne, the golden generation explosion. Here is where things get emotionally messy. July 1st, 2024. Euro 2024. Belgium versus France in the round of 16. Belgium lost ass to a Jan Vertonghen own goal in the dying minutes. A devastating exit. Belgian international Kevin De Bruyne labelled a journalist's question as stupid after Belgium's exit from Euro 2024. The Red Devils were knocked out at the last 16 stage as they lost ass to France. After the game, De Bruyne appeared before the press in the mixed zone for questions, and then the journalist asked it. The question, "Is it hard that the golden generation didn't achieve a final?" After a brief pause, De Bruyne replied with a question.
But what is a golden generation? Yours. And you say that France and England and Spain and Germany is not a golden generation? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
De Bruyne later walked out of the mixed zone after answering the question. On camera, De Bruyne was heard calling the question stupid as he walked off. And honestly, he had a point. The label Golden Generation had been used to guilt-trip Belgian players for years, as if winning silverware were purely a matter of willpower. De Bruyne's counter-question was perfectly constructed. He did not shout. He did not throw anything. He just turned the premise inside out and walked away. Even in defeat, absolutely ruthless. Neymar, the double shutdown night. But now let's talk about a night when one player managed to shut down reporters not once, but twice in the same press conference. November 22nd, 2017, PSG had just demolished Celtic ass in the Champions League. Neymar had been magnificent. 2 goals, dominant performance, end of story, or at least that is what he hoped. A journalist went on to compare the ass-thrashing of Celtic to Germany's victory over Brazil at the 2014 World Cup semi-final. That is right.
Germany are looking good for the final on Sunday. They might get another one here. It's 3-0.
They compared a routine Champions League group game to the most traumatic night in Brazilian football history. Neymar's reaction was, "You never stop reminding me of that day, right?" He kept composure, barely. Then came the second grenade. Just moments later, a reporter asked Neymar directly about whether he was planning to sign for Real Madrid. This was a sore topic. Neymar had just joined PSG from Barcelona for a world record fee of €222 million, and already the transfer rumour mill was dragging him toward Madrid. The 25-year-old Brazilian was asked about his potential move away to Real Madrid, and the striker replied, "For sake, have you got nothing else to talk about?" He turned on his heel and walked. The press conference was over. Done. One night, 2 reporter shutdowns, 7 goals. Neymar truly did everything that evening. So, which of these moments got you the most? Ronaldo's lake throw, Mourinho's iconic non-answer, Zlatan making a journalist feel invisible, or De Bruyne's perfectly constructed counter-attack? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Goal Rivals so you don't miss the next ones.